It's a little redneck and it does cost a little more, but I don't have time to run home and get fuel. It's amazing how much better hay mowers work when you actually mow hay with them. Alright, so today's haying adventures involve a slight departure from the usual in that today we're actually haying grass and there does not appear to be any shrubs in it. So this is a very, very welcome change. This is my first time cutting this field, but I'm told this one has also been hayed recently, like last year recently, so that's another welcome change. That's the good news. The bad news is I got about 50 acres to put down today and tomorrow, which is asking a lot of a you know, little drum mower like this, but for right now it's what I got to work with. So we're gonna get started here. We're gonna be pushing the limits on this thing to see what kind of ground we can realistically cover. Ah, it's so smooth. I like it. And I'm actually not going to be this adventurous in a new field. Well, so unfortunately there hasn't been our usual Texas flooding, so this stuff is a little thinner than I'd really like it to be. I will say it's denser than it looks. However, I will also say that this is a job for economy PTO, if there ever was such a thing. Slip clutch there is slipping. PTO shaft isn't moving. It's the gear ratios in this transmission so that the mower starts spinning at its full rated RPM at I think 16 or 1800 RPMs instead of what it was, which is 2200, which is way too fast for this. Yeah, about 1800. Thin, but it's usable. So there's not a lot that goes to waste out here. See those birds up there? Well, I hit a field mouse earlier. I mean, I didn't really want to, but he showed up and, you know, went right through the mower. And pretty much immediately those two birds and then a giant vulture, which I think is that guy over there, had a race to the dinner table to see who could pick up what's left of that mouse. It's amazing how fast and how gracefully they move. Some spots here are definitely thinner than others. You know, people are saying it's a really bad year in Texas for hay. That's not necessarily true. It's a really good year if you're selling it. It's just not that good if you happen to need it. This field, because it's so thin, you know, usually when I lease something like this, it's a by the acre price, but for obvious reasons, I wasn't really willing to do that here because I couldn't tell how much is, you know, going to come out of this. So I'm paying this guy X number of dollars per bale that I take off of it. I feel like that's really the fairest for both of us because I have no idea. I mean, I'm kind of hoping for 3 bales to the acre off of this. It's been fertilized, which is good, but it has not been rained on, which is of course bad. I think one of the guards or something on that mower is rattling, but not bad for just over an hour. I can't complain about that. That giant pile of old roofing with at least one fence post on it back there makes me a little uncomfortable because on one hand it's good that that's there because that's stuff they've picked up out of this field, I presume, but it's bad because it might mean they might have missed something. But hey, look at that nice pond. This guy's got a really nice piece of property out here. It's secluded. It's really feels quite comfy. Now the other good news is that this how it's kind of divided, this back part of the field is considerably thicker than the front part of the field. Although that's still only saying so much. We found an ant mound back there. Yeah. But hey, this is what we got. Like I said, it cost me next to nothing, so we're gonna roll it up, and this is just the type of field that I'm kind of left with until it starts raining or until I buy my own land. But one thing that's kind of cool, this mower, it is so quiet, you basically just hear the whir of those blades going around and a tiny bit of bearing noise. It sounds really smooth. I want to get a bigger mower one day, but I feel like this thing is a pretty good investment. Not really any repairs, which weren't the fault of dealer incompetence or me hitting a ditch that ran across the road with it. Runs smooth, and we're probably sipping the fuel rate in here. You can see we're right at about 540 RPMs, a little over 1800 engine RPMs. We got the overdrive light on because we're in the economy PTO mode. And driving here, which was about 45 minutes, and mowing all this so far, we're barely coming into what the fuel gauge can register there. So, cannot complainify. I just wonder if we'll make it through getting all this stuff down without a single breakdown. This stuff is a little thinner, and this field's a lot flatter than the one up on that gentle hillside there, so we are flying all the way up in 8th gear, doing about 8 miles an hour. Sure wouldn't mind if this mower was a couple feet wider, but it sure is nimble. First one's done. So we did all of this all the way up to that back tree line in a little over, let's see, 1, 2, 3, a little over 3 hours. Can't complainify. See how everything's looking on that mower. Kind of brown, kind of thin. But with the rain we got this year, that's just as good as it gets. At least there's hardly no weeds and not really any shrubs in this. You can hear that mower slowing down. Everything seems to be working. We've not lost any mower blades. That's already on there tight. Hydraulic cylinder seems to be working fine. Got the mower all shined up. 3 teeth, 4, 5, 6 teeth. Man, didn't lose any teeth. Only tripped the tree relief once going through a turn. This is great. It's amazing how much better hay mowers work when you actually mow hay with them. It's a little redneck and it does cost a little more, but I don't have time to run home and get fuel. Back on the road. Gotta dodge that fence. As you can see, we are working our way through field 2 right now, second one of the day. It's about 4 o'clock. I want to at least make a dent into this. This is, I don't know, 30-something acres. And this is kind of interesting. This tractor's doing its 3rd region ever. And so I took this thing out of its economy PTO mode, put it in its regular PTO mode. You can see to hit 540 we'd be, I don't know, 2200 RPMs or something. And that's just to raise the RPMs and the heat up enough so this thing can actually regen without me having to park it or whatever. So it never beeped, it just turned on that light. So I think it's doing it because working up around the shop, moving stuff and shuttling trailers and whatnot, usually there's another light under there that says raise the RPM, and then you raise that and then that light comes on. We went straight to that light today, so hopefully it's just kind of doing its thing. So that would be the good news if that is the case. The bad news is this field is weedier but thicker. So, you know, I'll have some better hay for the people who want to spend a little more money from that last field, and some not so good stuff from this field for those on a budget, which is most people who I find, or in the Haymarket for some reason. But whatever the case, let's see how much ground we can cover here. Man, I could have everything up here too, but it's just, this is too thin and too weedy even by my standards. At least there's a bare minimum to no shrubs in here, and it's absolutely beautiful. This is a view straight out of Farming Simulator. For me, I don't know how it looks on camera. But, you know, unfortunately, we haven't gotten that much rain this year. We didn't get our usual spring monsoons. I don't think anywhere in Texas flooded. I can only remember that happening one other time for as long as I've lived in this state. So a tiny fraction of the rain that we usually have. And however, this stuff over here was pretty useful. I did 3 fields here. I don't know if you guys can see way out there. I did 3 fields, probably totals, I'm gonna guess 15, 16 acres or something. So that mixed with the other one means I did well over 30 acres today with 3 pretty long trips. You know, home to the first field, first to second, and now where we are back home. A long day, but doable. That is as much as I would ask, or maybe even a little more than I would ask from a little European drum mower. But man, this thing, you know, it is kind of narrow. It's got 2 drums on it. I wish I could find one that had 4 drums on it. That would be pretty cool. I think this tractor would have the power to run it, be twice as wide. I guess throw down 2 of those smaller windrows there. But yeah, I like these things. You know, there's many fewer parts than a disc mower, and I mean, they just plain and simple work. So that's 3 spreads. Like I said, I'm gonna guess 15, 16 acres here. So the rest of this stuff, I'm just gonna wait for right now, and then hopefully there'll be a second cutting off of this, and if we're lucky, we'll get some rain as well. So maybe when I get a second cutting off of this stuff, I can take a first cutting off of that stuff. But yeah, it's pretty dry, definitely, and that's not something I usually say about Texas weather. One slight problem with this mower, although it's good to know we can always count on our trusty Agro Strage. Not even gonna try that one. One potential issue is that this gigantic thing blocks pretty much all the light that comes past it. Other than that, it works really well. The obvious thing a person would say is, why don't you just let down that hydraulic cylinder? Well, the problem with that is it takes the weight of this section here, which really now is pretty close to straight over this pin. Well, it takes it and it cantilevers it out, so every little bump, and it beats the rest of the mower part. Learned that one the hard way. Some of you guys saw the welding repairs I had to do to it. But yeah, successful day. Tomorrow I got to dig out the hay rake, and hopefully we have a successful day then too. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Having a lot of fun making this stuff. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more.